Welcome everyone to Coaches Connect. I am Kate. I am joined as always by a number of our community coaches. So folks that are tuning in live, I would love to know, what are you working on these days? We're 1 week into February. How was January? How is 2025 feeling? Like let's warm up, right? Like let's loosen up. This is our like warm up check-in. Sometimes I come in and I'm all like work mode, right? And then sometimes I think I overwhelm people because we get on and it's like, okay, what are you working on? And it's like, ah. So let's just warm up. How are you? Dana, I'm gonna pick on you since it's your first time. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really happy to be here. I am just, should I give you like a little background or what?
Yeah,
Or
what's your PN story? Because it's your first Coaches Connect. Are you just kicking off your Precision Nutrition Level 1? Where are you at?
yeah, I'm finishing the expert led level one, so we have about 2 weeks left.
Yay.
Yeah, and it's been really awesome just learning about like the different style of coaching than what I thought when I came in here. Like I definitely thought it was going to be more coach led of like this is just do this. And so it's been really cool to learn about it being more client led. I do have a first client. I reached out to like my building. We have like an electronic bulletin board type of thing. So I have one client and I've been working with her. I did like a very, kind of beta, like 5 week kind of package with her. And our last session is on Monday. So kind of working on, how to approach asking if she wants to continue working with me. And it's been interesting too, because her goal is like, um, is to lose weight by this cruise that she's going on in the end of this month. And so when we first talked, I told her that things were going to be like slow, that this is like a slow process kind of thing, and it's really like the unsexy kind of coaching. And she was all about it. But then once I sort of started working with her, I realized, oh no, no, she's like very much like I want to, she was and when I talked about it in the course, with Tony, I was definitely, she was like, well, yeah, for something like that, it's going to be different coaching. It has to be a little bit, you know, it's not going to be slow and steady. So that was a good learning. And so then now I'm working with her and she's just so gung ho and I'm, trying to find that balance between, having it be client centered, and also she just wants to like really be told kind of what to do. She's like, how much protein should I, and she's measuring, she's tracking, she's like, she doesn't have her level one kind of things down, but like when it comes to this, she started working with a trainer. She's just very like determined. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think you're bringing up something really interesting. So first of all, I want to give a shout out, high fives, right? Like you're 2 weeks away from finishing up the cert. You already have your first client. Is this a paying client or a free client?
Paying. I mean, I charge her like $100 for 5 sessions, like very beta, just to kind of, you know, have her put some skin in the game and,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was like, yeah.
So then, if you have your last session with her on Monday, you said I kind of want to try and figure out how to approach maybe continuing to work with her.
Yeah.
Uh, if you didn't overthink it, how would you approach it?
Yeah, I'd probably just email and say I've really been enjoying, working with you. I can see, I have some, I think that, here's some ways that we could continue working together and continue to see some changes and let me know if that's interesting to you or if you're interested in that, basically, something like that.
How does that approach feel?
Feels good. I mean, it feels fine. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to like go into like this is into more detail as to what we would actually be working on, but I think ultimately some of it feels scary of like maybe she doesn't maybe it hasn't been very valuable to her. I don't know. Like there were some moments where I felt like I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just cheering her on because she was like, I'm following this thing, and I'm gonna make smoothies, and I'm doing this, and I would try to insert questions and stuff, and she was, so I guess I was kind of, I guess there's like that fear of it not being valuable to her, but otherwise, I mean, all I can do is offer to continue.
Would you be content at offering her the same rate, or would you want to up the price at this point? Like, what would you want to do?
At this point, I'm thinking, that, I mean, that's what I sort of want some help around, I guess. But my thing is like, I would do it for free because it's such good practice. So I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just offer the same rate, and then, because I mean, my hope and plan is to continue on to level two, so that maybe I'll learn more, and then at that point, I'll be able to charge more once I get more training.
Well, I usually ask, like, would you be fine? Would you be happy with the same rate? And
Yes.
we would kind of test whether you are or not, because what we want to avoid is like sense of resentment, right? Because if
Right,
they're
right, right.
like, "Ah, like I feel like I should really be charging more, but I kind of want to keep her, so I'm charging her the same amount." But like, right, like there is that sense of
Right,
like, "Arr," and
right,
that's the sign that we probably shouldn't do that, but raise
right.
their instead, because it's a disservice to the client if I'm showing up to the space with that kind of vibe, right?
Right. Yes.
But if you're saying, like this has been great, like this has been such a great learning experience, you get to apply what
Yeah.
you've been learning, right? And you are charging her some rate. It's not going to be your forever rate.
No, right.
You're happy to extend it for another 5 weeks.
Yeah.
That
That's
like
how I feel.
I'm not hearing any tension. I'm not hearing any resentment there.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of know what to do.
Answered my question. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'll probably, yeah, just do that. Extend it to her as this first client kind of beta to continue practicing.
And I think the other thing you were kind of wondering about, and I see that a lot, where sometimes my client, and I work with coaches, right? So when I say client coach, it gets confusing. So when one of the coaches that I work with, they will say, well, like I'm just trying to figure out how to go about insert the blank, right? Like, so you said, I'm trying to figure out how to go about offering her to work together.
Mhm.
I asked the same question I asked you. I said, like, well, just tell me, how would you, like, what do you want to say? And they say, well, I just want to say this and this. And I was like, let's just say that.
Mhm.
Because there isn't really, like, there is no magical way. I think that's the underlying assumption sometimes. There is no magical way to ask that will 100% guarantee that the client will renew.
Right.
And that's not really what we're going for, right? So it's
Right.
just ask.
Yeah. Is there a timing that you like that people usually do? I mean, am I right to say I do it before the last session, and not like during the last session, or, like via email? That's sort of what feels comfortable to me, but
Well, I mean, 5 weeks is short, right? Like,
right, I
so
know.
definitely would be, I would definitely bring it up before the last session, because then
Yeah.
the last session can feel a little like mushed, right? Like where
Right,
it's
right,
like, oh, and by the way, are we continuing to work? Like, right, then the person's on the spot, and
right,
that
yes.
can just feel a little weird.
Right.
So I usually work with folks for longer sessions, and I do 2 weeks before the 3 months are up, if I do 3 months, and I
Okay.
do 1 month before the 6 months are up.
Right. Okay.
If
Yeah.
I
I
do
mean,
the six
yeah.
months, right? So I think like just proportionally about a week before 5 weeks are up feels
Right.
about right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the future, I mean, what I've learned is that I definitely 5 weeks is too short. Like when I'm sort of considering this just like practice as a beta. Like when I really do start working with people, it'll be at least 3 months. So I don't know if maybe I'll offer her that option as well. Like we continue 5 weeks, or if you'd want to commit to longer, I have this option available.
Well, so one thing I'll push back a little bit on when I start working with people for real. you have, right? Like you're
Right, right,
already there.
right.
We're talking about rejigging the duration, upping the price, but like
Right,
I've been
right,
doing it for 15 years and I'm still rejigging duration and price. Like it doesn't like, right? Like you're not gonna get married to anything.
right.
Things change, businesses change, like you experiment. Like I have probably done every single duration of a coaching call that exists in my coaching practice. I've done 15-minute check-ins, I've done 20 minutes, 30, 45, an hour, 90 minutes. Then I went back to 45, right? Like it doesn't mean that any one of them was wrong,
Right.
but I wanted to kind of feel it out. It's like, oh, well, I do shorter ones more frequently. I do longer ones less frequently. Like, what feels better? The season of life changes too, so that can have an impact, right? Like, so what does the rest of your life look like? So you're already there, you're already working with people for real. And then the other thing I would say, I really would not give her options. The
Okay.
more options, the more confusing it is, right? Like you already have worked with her and you have done a thing and you have provided the support. So the question of like, hey, should we keep going? This has been great. You've made such progress. I've enjoyed working with you. Should we
Hmm.
keep going? Is the easiest yes.
Okay.
I use
Okay.
the example sometimes. So I work with probably 2 to 4 coaches myself as a client every single year in various contexts. Sometimes I work with a running coach. Sometimes I work with a strength coach. So last year I hired a running coach and I haven't worked with a running coach for years, like many years. I've hired this person and we are on a discovery call as I'm asking her about like the options and the training plans. I was so overwhelmed with the options. Like I already knew I wanted to hire her, but I
Mm,
was given options to hire her 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. And each of those durations had different price point. And
right.
I'm like, oh my God, right? Like does it matter that much? Right? Like, so I just kind of had to pick one, close my eyes and pick one. But that's also where like the less options, the better. So this or this or this.
Okay.
And then if we're having more option than one, they also have to be significantly different.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for kicking us off.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. It's helpful.
Who else wants to check in or just throw something on the board here as we're workshopping all the things? And Marie, I feel like I see you unmuting, but I don't know, or yes, okay. I'm trying to read body language, right? It's kind of like
I
in the
know.
classroom, because I used to teach in a classroom. So sometimes like people kind of do this and you're like,
Yeah, I'm like,
are
oh,
you
do I
like,
want to
are
go
you
there?
scratching
Yeah,
your
yeah.
hair or are you like raising your hand?
I'm
So
like, oh,
Anne
okay.
Marie, and I feel like I also saw Heather asking, yes, okay, awesome. I'm on fire today. I'm like, really, this is good. Anne Marie, go ahead. And then Heather, I'll
Okay.
grab you in a second.
Okay. So where I am, I finished my certification for level 1. I am in between super excited and a little overwhelmed. I went with the pro coach because I feel like, it's all kind of done for me and I want to have that format and the website and I really want to jump in and get started. So I figured like that's the best way for me to do that. Um, and then I got the business Kickstarter program and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where the overwhelm comes in because I'm trying to make my way through the pro coach business Kickstarter. But meanwhile, I want to get started with clients also. So I'm like, I felt that's where my overwhelm comes in. Um, I was going to do 3 test clients, like a free clients, just to like get used to the program and get started that way. So one being my husband decided to start coaching with me, and I put him in as my first client. He went through all the questions, and he started on Monday. So I'm like thrilled today. I want to share his results. I'm so happy he lost 7.2 pounds since Monday, and I love it because
Sounds like a really big poop.
I know. It's amazing. Amazing. Well, we were on vacation the week prior, so he might have had a little
Okay,
extra
gotcha.
weight.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was exciting. My background is I came from another coaching company that was more like very structured and shakes and bars and things. And my heart is really on balanced nutrition and whole foods, and that's where I'm making the switch. So this
Hold
is
on.
my,
When you
like
say
my,
I came from another coaching company as a coach, so
yes.
that you used to coach for like kind of in a different philosophy, let's say.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
gotcha.
But I really love the nutrition part of it and learning more about it and the whole foods and being able to offer clients a lot of different options and kind of meeting them truly where they are. So this is very refreshing for me. I love that I don't have an upline or getting pushed to sponsor or all that stuff. I feel like a huge sense of freedom and more options. So I love where I am. And I know I'm just rambling about all this information, but I also have my second test client tomorrow. I'm meeting in person. He's someone that was previous on a program that I was involved with. I just met him for the first time. He lost 100 pounds, gained 100 pounds, doesn't want shakes or bars, wants all whole food. So I'm really excited to work with him and get started. So I am open to any help that you can give me to get me focused on like not being oh so overwhelmed and what do I really need to put in place? Do I need to get through the Kickstarter first? Or how can I just like slow things down, take a deep breath and do things right?
Um, when I hear you talk, and it's not rambling, it's called verbal processing.
Okay.
Let's call it that. That's what I call it. And I'm the same way. I need to talk through things, and most of my clients are the same way too. And you notice it also, it helps, right? As you talk through things, you actually clarify them in the process. When
Yes.
I hear you talk, again, like with Dana, I want to say huge, like I want to give huge props because you are two test clients in.
Mhm.
If you were my client, I'd cut you off at three in terms of the free clients. Like that
Mhm.
is my completely arbitrary made up benchmark.
Okay.
Right? Where it's like if you're gonna do free clients, totally fine, totally an option. But once you hit three, you're done.
Mhm.
After
Okay.
that, there has got to be um, some sort of money. It could be a discounted rate. It could be like a super 50% off. But I find that generally, and we all understand, nothing magical about three versus four versus two. But
Mhm.
usually, like I've talked to somebody, they say, oh, I'm just starting out. I'm coaching 12 people and they're free test clients. At that point, we're just avoiding a thing,
Mhm.
right? Which is why I say three. But
Okay.
you're two test clients in, you're already coaching. That is really incredible and really awesome. And as I hear you talk, I don't hear someone who's stuck.
Mhm.
So I hear somebody who has finished a certification and who's putting in the reps.
Mhm.
So um, work with me here. Tell me a little bit more about where you feel like you're stuck. Because I'm hearing somebody who's doing really well, right? But I know it feels
Mhm.
stuck. So tell me more about that part.
I feel not, I guess maybe not stuck, but I just feel like I have so much to do because I want to get through the Kickstarter program. And in my head, I'm like a very organized person. And to me, it's not all organized yet because I'm just trying to get, like say for my husband's in pro coach. And I'm like, one thing I am stuck on is we have like his what he's focusing on, which by the way, he thinks he feels like he's eating so much, but he's so successful. So it makes me so happy. But I can't figure, I'm trying to figure out this morning, like where do I put, um, for somehow I got in there that he's supposed to be taking a picture of his food, but I really want to be able to show him where to put his weight in. And I'm like trying to figure out all the features of that. And I'm trying to get through the rest of the Kickstarter so I can get everything in place. And I also want to set up this new client that I'm meeting with, or this second test client is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So I kind of want to have his program set up. And I guess I'm thinking in my head, I have a lot to go through today to say, like, what exactly do I present to this in-person client tomorrow? Like, I love the fact that I can use the calculator and I have like a set plan. But is that overwhelming to show that to someone? Do I just go through with a couple of habits? Like, I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly,
Ooh, what does correctly mean?
not to overwhelm somebody else, I guess, because I feel
Okay,
like
that's
there's,
fair. Yeah, I that's fair. And I actually the other thing I want to reflect is in the span of 2 minutes, you went from I am stuck to I have a lot to do.
okay.
And those are different. right? And I would
Yes,
argue that
yes.
having a lot to do is probably better,
Okay.
especially for somebody who is organized, right? Because it's much more clear. Where stuck is just like we're stuck, right? Like you have
Yeah.
a lot to do, which understandable, relatable, right? But
Okay.
also different. Like, so once again,
Yes.
I'm not picking up necessarily on the stuck vibe where like I
Yes.
just doing all the things and I have a lot to do, especially today because I have this client, I have this other client that I'm onboarding, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that makes complete sense. You are also trying to do a couple of things at the same time, which I
Mm-hmm.
think might be contributing to like the sense of overwhelm. Like, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe we will call it more overwhelmed rather than stuck.
Okay. I agree.
And I find that for folks who start off with like let's say precision nutrition level 1 certification, like you kind of dip your toes into the nutrition coaching thing, as you're wrapping up the nutrition coaching certification, there's a little bit of a fork in the road. And the fork in the road is like, well, do I want to learn more? Do I want to keep learning? Do I want to get a little bit more education? Or do I want to start coaching? And when I say fork in the road, yes, of course, you can go in both directions at once, but then you are starting to feel a little bit like you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I want to learn more, that's my focus. Maybe I'm just starting out in this whole health, wellness, nutrition thing. I feel like I just really in learning mode. Then as I'm finishing my level 1 nutrition, I might do a change psychology cert. I might get a little bit into the plant-based stuff, right? Maybe I will get myself onto level 2 wait
Mm-hmm.
list, right? Maybe I will
Yes.
kick off um, the sleep stress certification, right? Like you notice there's like, okay, learning.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm thinking like, okay, I just did the certification, it's a lot. It's a very comprehensive cert, and I really just want to start focusing on getting my reps in. I want to get a couple of test clients in, right? Like I want to start coaching. So I think just picking which one takes priority for you,
Mm-hmm.
not forever, but more next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. My thought was to start working with clients with this certification, and I am on the wait list for level 2. So we have a little bit of time in between here so that I can kind of get this set up and actively work with clients and then jump into the level 2.
Well, so and if that's the case, right? And I like that. That sounds like a really great approach because it's like, okay, so I just finished the cert. I'm on a wait list for this other big cert. There is
Mm-hmm.
this little bit of space in time, and I have a couple of test clients in hand, and I'm trying to learn this tool.
Mm-hmm.
You hear how it actually sounds like a good focus right now is going to be on the clients that you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the business Kickstarter is going to be this great thing that straddles, I think, both coaching and learning, but you
Mm-hmm.
also don't have a particular limit on like when to complete it or how to complete it. So
True.
either you just put like I'm going through a certification right now, and the way I'm doing it, it's like I work on it 15 minutes every day, 5 days a week.
Okay.
How much or how little I do in those 15 minutes, I don't care. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just plugging away, right? Like there's no deadline. There's like I'm not in a rush anywhere. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to like spend any more of my day working on it. So you could do that with the business Kickstarter, where it's like I'm just going to give 15 minutes and I'm going to do it every day and I'm just going to slowly plug away. Or you could simply pause, right? Like put it on a back burner. And when I say put it in a back burner, I always have a caveat of a deadline, right? It's like I will revisit this April 1st.
Okay.
Like it's like there's a pin on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Okay.
give yourself permission to like, I have it, I'm going to go through it, just not right now. I'm going to reassess April 1st because right now I really want to focus on getting these folks onboarded, sorted out, so I have my people to actually be putting the reps in and get myself ready for level 2. Because level 2 just also lands better when you have practice clients.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does
Okay.
that help, Emery?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Because mine like get it done, get it done, get it done. And I think that's why I'm probably overwhelming myself by thinking like, oh, I have to get to the end of this Kickstarter, so everything's in place and I have the insurance and I'm like following, I'm following all the steps and I'm like, oh, in my mind, I have to get that all done before I have an active paying client, and it's kind of helps. So I'm probably, you know, it's myself like rushing to get to the end of it, where you're right, I could just take.
I think that the get it done assumptions, they are made up.
Mhm.
Like they're made up by you.
Right.
There
Yeah.
is no paying client is going to know or care if you have
Right.
completed the business Kickstarter.
You're right. You're right. Take
They
it
don't
down
know
a
what
notch.
it is. They like right. So, and I think that the other thing is like you're in it. It's a new thing. You're in it for the longish haul, right?
Mhm.
Like so, get it done in order to what? Like where are we running off to?
Yeah, it's just so I could feel more comfortable probably getting full paying clients and everything is in the right place. So I could just like forge ahead with new clients and feel like
So
I'm in the
I
right
think
place.
so there, what you just said, I think is really important because the pressure to like hurry up and get it done already, get it
Hmm.
completed, get it checked off is
Hmm.
in order to feel comfortable, in order to feel more confident. Doesn't work like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to feel more comfortable or more confident doing a
Hmm.
new thing just because you've completed this course.
Okay.
Right? Like, so it's like, you notice there is like a little bit of a erroneous connection there. Like, if I complete this thing, it's like, but you're just going to feel uncomfortable and not that confident because it's a new thing.
Hmm.
That's how we're
Okay.
supposed to feel when we do new things. So you're
All
doing
right.
everything right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.
So welcome. Thanks, Anne Marie.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, we had a couple of suggestions here too. So Heather was suggesting, I think to Dana, that this client who's renewing for 5 weeks to write a review or testimonial. That's a fantastic idea. And in terms of timing, I think Dana, like as you're having this conversation, so priority number one is to present to this client, hey, do you want to continue? If she's in, great, because then that's the point to ask for a testimonial. Since you've renewed, this was clearly helpful. I would love to hear a testimonial. Now, if she doesn't renew, then that's also a great point to ask for a testimonial, right? It's like, awesome, well, good luck on your cruise. This has been really nice for us to work together. Would you mind writing a testimonial? You notice, like, right? Like, so we can kind of prioritize the timeline because the first question to answer is, are we going to work together or not? But then, regardless of which way it goes, you could actually ask for a testimonial.
And if she does re-up, you would still ask right now, or would you ask at the end of the next sessions?
I would ask right now.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is going to be the strongest motivation point. Like, she just renewed, she
Okay.
just recommitted, right? Like, she just said to you and herself,
Mm-hmm.
this has been helpful. I want more.
Okay.
That's the point to ask for a testimonial.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. We had Malk, I think I'm saying that, right? So, who shared some, like, one of the ways that they're doing it with the sessions and the virtual coaching. And Carolyn's also has a suggestion for Anne Marie. Just consider taking the pressure off for the client meeting tomorrow morning. And I 100% agree because when you're meeting with somebody for the first time, they're not expecting anything. They don't know what to expect, right? Like, so, and you don't necessarily need to show up with like slides and reports. And and Marie, I think you've also expressed a concern of maybe using the calculator output, but for it to be maybe overwhelming. I share that concern. I would also say that this is one of those times where there isn't really a right thing to do, because if having that report output would make you feel a little bit more comfortable and grounded, you could totally do that. You could show up the first time with this person and say, hey, I have this thing for you, very comprehensive, very detailed. And then after the conversation, you might go, shit, I think they were overwhelmed with all the papers, right? I don't think I'm going to do that for next one. Or you might feel, oh, this went great. I felt great about having this thing to show them and to go over, but I don't actually know which way it's going to go, and neither do you.
Yeah, it's actually the second time that I'm meeting them. So the first, I met with him the first time and kind of know what he wants, and then he did the intake form for me. So this is the second time. So I'm kind of coming in trying to be a little bit more prepared. but thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
that might guide your decision, because it's not
Yeah,
actually the first time, right? Like
yeah,
if there is a bit of a, like, I want to feel more prepared, then maybe that's where that report comes in.
yes, yes. Thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah. Heather, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Heather, and I am a nurse turned health and wellness coach. And I just quit my job. I'm at the beginning of this journey, and I'm a nurse, so I'm ready to talk to people. I'm ready to help them. I'm ready to do it, but I have overwhelmed myself with how to get clients and overthought everything, and I am frozen, like literally frozen. I just bought Mel Robbins' book, Let Them, because I'm letting everybody around me dictate. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to post that, or do they think this about, like, it is ridiculous, but yet I'm confident, like in person, like I'm cool, but I'm so worried that people are going to nitpick. And I'm like, well, so two things. One, I just would like to figure out the way to get client, like a way to get clients something. I have my sister that I've coached, and I have another girl that I'm coaching, but those were in a different method of achieving that. So I'd like to know that. And then the second one is I'm kind of trying to just figure out like a daily flow, because what I do is I get stuck on something and I just stay there. Like, oh, I'm going to work on how to, and I don't know the names of it, make a page that they can get my freebie. And I'm so stuck in the technology, but it's taking up my whole day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even do anything today, but yet I was working all day. Or I get stuck on this. So I kind of like an idea of maybe a flow. I loved your idea of putting a limit, work on this for 15 minutes and then put it away. I really liked that. But I mean, in all reality, I do have to get something done. I need progress. So I would love anybody's input on either one of those things. Would be so helpful.
Thanks, Heather. Well, first of all, thank you for a little bit of background. And my goodness, like, nurses turned health and wellness coaches, pretty awesome. It's definitely a group, definitely a demographic that I see, and it's super cool. And usually, like, there is that shift, right? Like, I don't want to speak for you, but from what I've seen, kind of like the shift from reactive to proactive, right?
You
Or
got it.
kind of
Yeah,
curative to more preventative, and like
you
the
got it.
promise of the preventative is really exciting to be able to just enable and empower people a little bit more. Well, I'm curious if anyone has suggestions for Heather. I'm happy to jump in, but I do want to hear from some of you all here. Dana, go ahead.
Well, this just came to me because I think I'm going to do it too when I start looking for, new clients, is to actually reach out to my friends and family and in an email, like, even like a personalized thing, and actually ask them if they know anybody. So it's like you can sort of, do you know anybody who might benefit from a health coach or need a health coach or whatever? And so that they maybe start thinking about people in their lives, and then if it could help them, they would say, yeah, it would be me. So that's just one idea that I had, that I'm gonna do myself, to just ask my people if they know anyone.
Thank you. Anyone else? Natasha, go ahead.
If you still have connections within the healthcare community, you could definitely use that, like if like outpatient clinics, um, things like that, if you still have that connection.
That's a great idea. So I actually came from school nursing the most recently, and I thought that I'd be able to reach the teachers, but we have this, it's a county and you have to follow the county's rules. So I can't like spam all the teachers. Like, I have access to them, but I can't, like, if I were to send a personal or business email to them, it would probably be against the code, shall we say. So I'm trying to figure out how to work around that. And I've been trying to use Facebook and Instagram, but I'm definitely getting more traction and some more views, but I'm hearing crickets as far as the coaching part goes. Does that make sense?
And Heather, can you say more about, like, so my connections coming from nursing school, but I feel like if I email them, I might be like violating a thing.
Oh, so I worked as the school nurse for a school.
As a school
And then
nurse. Got it. Okay.
as a school nurse. So while I have access to my school and multiple other schools as the school nurse, you can't just, I mean, I guess you could, but if I emailed the entire faculty, I feel like there's got to be, I feel like that was frowned upon when I worked there, even inside the school. Like they don't want you selling your Girl Scout cookies to everybody in the building. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
there's
How long
definitely
have
some
you, how long have you been a school nurse?
6.5 years.
And were you the only school nurse there? Or were there other school nurses?
So the way that our school system works is different than other places. We have 64 schools in our county, which is like 68,000 students. It's a really big county outside of Richmond, Virginia, and every school has a school nurse.
So have there been any school nurses at some of these other schools that over the 6.5 years that you've been working there that you would have been communicating regularly for whatever?
Oh, yes. I can absolutely communicate with the nurses, and I'm still a substitute. So that's what I'm saying. I have access to people, but I have to tread very carefully, I think, as far as like,
So I want to draw a distinction between I probably shouldn't email the whole faculty to sell them a thing.
right.
And I don't want to email anybody because I want to tread carefully. Like, do you hear how we're actually taking a thing and like really blowing it up to be more than it is? Because there is an in between there, and there usually is. There usually is an in between option, because there is absolutely nothing wrong in any law or policy or state that would prevent you from friendly emailing a former colleague to see how they're doing and tell them how you're doing.
Okay. So
You would-
send like an individual email, like checking in and being like, miss seeing you, la la la.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that idea. I didn't even think about like, hey, I missed getting to touch base with you. Just wanted to let you know what I was up to, that kind of thing. I like that. That's a whole different, and that's what I'm saying. I'm stuck between going all in and just blasting because I have zero problem sending a newsletter, blasting people, but feel that's inappropriate. And then so what I do is I shut down and I'm doing nothing.
Don't blast people. Just
Right. That's what I'm saying. I only saw the two extremes. So
right.
I like that middle ground. I appreciate it.
Well, and I think when we're kind of talking about like, so what is it that I do? My first recommendation always to any coach starting out is that if I were to sit you down, Heather, and you and I were to spend 2 hours together, where I would have you writing down the name of every single person you know. Let's just go with that exercise, right? Like, so there's
Okay.
lots of coffee involved, right? And like, or just get like pieces of papers, like, who do you know? Just
Yeah.
at all, right? Like your, your kids' teachers, your old accountant, the old Miss Johnson from the library, right? Like literally every single person. Who have we missed? Oh, the director of this. Oh, my old soccer coach. Like that's what we're doing.
Okay.
If we do that, we would come up with anywhere from 100 to 500 people. Like vast majority of people would land in there somewhere, right? Like you're more extroverted, more outgoing, much more involved in the community. Your list is going to be longer, right? But anyone and everyone knows 100 to 200 people. So then my next test would be, okay, so now let's look at that list of your 100 to 500 people that you know.
Yeah.
And my question to you would be, does every single one of these people on the list know that you have left nursing, you have done a nutrition coaching certification, and you're now building up a nutrition coaching business and looking for clients?
No.
And
Except that they're on Facebook and they actually happen to see a post. So that's not any of them. That's what I'm saying. It's a very small portion. Yeah.
But also doesn't count because
Right.
you have no idea who has seen a post, who has not seen a post.
Right.
I think last time I checked, I have like, I don't know, 3,000 followers on Instagram. When I put a story up, you know how many people see it? 50 out of 3,000.
Yeah, that's true.
But when we say, oh, but I post and a thing and crickets, it's like, yeah, but no one has seen it. It's a little bit like I live in a town, right? It's like, well, haven't you seen flyers all over neighborhood? It's like, no, I'm like, unless you're knocking on my door,
Yeah.
tell me about a thing, I know nothing. Like I have 2 kids, I don't know what my name is half the time, right? So, and that, like that project of making sure that every single person I know knows what I do. And notice I didn't say blast. I didn't say sell them your services. I didn't say reach out and say, hey, do you need to lose some weight? I can help you. It's literally making sure they know what it is you do. Until that project is complete, until you can tell me with full honesty that every single person on that list, yes, they know. How I know they know? Because I reached out to them personally to touch base and to see how their dog was, and whether they're have traveled to whatever, or whatever personal details you have in common, and actually exchange that information. Until then, I wouldn't even bother with landing pages or sales pages or freebies or anything else.
Awesome. Yeah. So connect with them either on email or messenger or something like that, and kind of tap into, hey, what have you been up to lately? And then bring it up. Kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Getting outside my comfort zone.
What makes it outside of your comfort zone?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm super social, and if I saw you in the hallway, I would totally do it. I just don't.
Which is why I'm asking. So, because
Yeah.
so far you told us super social, I'm confident. You
Yeah.
actually said, I'm totally fine blasting everybody with the newsletter, which is such a minority of people.
Yeah.
About this particular thing, what is it? Like,
I don't know.
let's go beyond the I don't know. What is it?
So for example, last night I went to a social mingling for a business. I forget what you call it. And you share business cards and stuff. It was a mingler.
A networking event.
It's called networking. It's called 212. It's a network that we have here, kind of like BNI. So I went to that, and you just go up and you talk to people and you talk about what you do. And I think that one of the things that I came home with, which was really good, it was a growth thing, was that I wanted to feel more confident in telling people what I did. And I felt more like I actually went to another meeting a week ago that was completely different. And so I kind of been practicing it. And I felt like saying that I'm a nurse turned health coach made me feel more confident and more validated in what I was doing. And then I wanted to hone in on my my elevator pitch, shall we say. I came up with, I teach women healthy habits to reach their health and wellness goals. And I just think that's so vague and so like not focused that it's not doing anything for me. So I just wanted to feel a little bit more confident and hone that in. So I worked on that a little bit yesterday, doing some same thing, writing down words and brainstorming and trying to hone in on that. So yeah, I don't know why, but reaching out in the way that you said makes me feel more comfortable, like just touching base. Hey, how was your trip? How's sports? Whatever connection that we have. And then be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know. But at that point, we don't like talk about the coaching. Just say, I just want to let you know that I left nursing. I'm a health and wellness coach now. If you know anyone, or don't even put that.
Well, I actually would argue that you often won't need to, right?
Okay.
Because it comes up very naturally, right? Because if you and I have a conversation, like there is a social norm of reciprocity. If I reach out my hand and I say, hi, I'm Kate, you have a pull to say, hi, I'm Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear how I actually didn't need to ask you, what is your name? Do you hear that? Like, right? Like, it's actually kind of a really fun thing to observe. Like, all I did, I just gave you my name, and that makes you want to give your name, right? Like, so, and that happens in social interactions as well, especially so with our casual connections that we already have. So if you're reaching out to a former coworker and saying, hey, Leslie, really miss our chats and hangouts. Do you remember how we always used to complain to each other about like the angry parents, whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is new with you? What's new with you? What's up? How is Mitch? How is whatever, like, right?
Yeah.
When the person responds and they say, hey, we miss you too. It's been crazy around here. Mitch is this and blah, blah, blah. What's new with you? Like, that's a pretty natural shift. And that's your cue to say what's new. And what's new is that, well, actually, I've left nursing. I'm doing this thing, just did the certification. I'm building up my coaching practice. I'm currently looking for my first few clients. So, yeah, if you know anybody, definitely let me know. That's it.
I love it. That makes it so much more casual and so much less like creepy dropping into someone's inbox with like, you know, a cold sale, which I don't like.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think it's interesting because, like, when people say, like, don't do cold DMs, like, to me, like, we're not talking about cold DMs right now because we're talking about working through your existing network. So there's
Right.
going to be zero cold DMs.
Right.
But even with cold DMs, I treat cold DMs as I do saying hello to a stranger, meaning you can do it. Don't make it creepy. Don't make it weird. Single person that joins one of the PN Facebook groups gets a cold DM from me. Cold meaning unsolicited. We have never interacted. We're not friends. We're not connected. And I say, hey, I'm Kate. I saw you join the community recently. Welcome. I want to tell you a little bit, like, we have these coaching calls. Here's where you can find me. Let me know if you have any questions. Welcome aboard. Not a single person. I have messaged thousands of people. Not a single person has said, oh my God, ew, cold DM, go away, blocked. Like,
Yeah.
don't make it weird, right? And it won't be
Yeah.
weird even with them. But that's an aside. I saw Anastasia had her hand up and I actually wanted to, so Anastasia, if you're still around where you want to talk or can talk.
Yes, hey everyone. I just wanted to make a quick share. Maybe it would be helpful. I don't know, because I think working with a kind of local circle, it's the best way to start. But I've heard Heather mentioned her first post on Facebook, and if it helps somehow, I would really suggest to kind of not to put too much effort and pressure in terms of social media, and really just to kind of naturally translate what you're doing right now, because this way really helped me when I was working as a coach in a CrossFit gym, and I was like coaching people CrossFit, but then I started to dive more into nutrition, and I started to work with my first clients, like for free or for very cheap price. And I was just translating it in my social media, like, hey, this is Christy, this is what we're doing, this is the meal what she sent to me. And I didn't even ask anyone to come to work with me. I didn't, I don't know, put my prices or whatever. I was just translating what we do. And after a couple of months, people just started to ask me like, hey, can I also like work with you somehow with my nutrition? It just happened so organically. And I honestly didn't even put that much effort because I already have some like old clients, old friends, whatever. And I don't know, I just was shown what we do with my first like one or two clients, and it really helped. And it really helped me to gain like more confidence, because I saw people they were needed my help. I didn't need to go and offer them or make a kind of weird messages or something like this. So if it helps somehow to you, um, in terms of your social media game, I would be really happy.
I love that idea. Thank you. That's great.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. I appreciate it. And I'm fully on board with it. Take the pressure off the social media, for sure. I think if we were to put any sort of pressure on anything when it comes to social media, I would put social media as secondary to what Heather and I've already talked about. And where I would put that pressure is picking one or two platforms and being militantly, stupidly consistent. That's it, right? Like somebody was asking me recently, they said, oh, like, well, do you track like links and engagement on your social media posts? And I'm pretty sure I made them really angry with my response. And I said, no, but I've been posting consistently for over 10 years. I don't particularly care as much. Some posts do well, some posts don't do well, but just like some workouts are amazing and some workouts suck. And it's like, whatever, like you just keep going, right? Like you just keep going. That's really the focus. And Heather, I'm really glad that you brought up this question today, because I feel like what we're discussing is just very relevant and salient to a lot of folks in your position as well. And it's so relatable, like that struggle of, it feels like there's so much to do. I don't know which one to do. I'm trying to work on a landing page. I'm spending an entire day on it, right? And I kind of feel like this is where it's so important to focus on fewer things that have a more direct impact to your goal. Right. So
Yes.
this would be very similar to when you're working with clients. And if a client comes to you, and for folks that know me a little bit better, you know how I feel about drinking more water. God, such a struggle. But one of my pet peeves is when somebody says, my goal is weight loss. I want to lose weight. Great. We're client-centered, right? We're asking them where they want to start. Where do you want to start? What do you want to change first? I want to drink more water. Okay, why? How? I mean, that's great, like awesome. Drinking more water is fantastic. But you notice how that is only very tangentially related to weight loss? Just like when people say, well, I want to start by taking vitamins. Okay, also great, but also very tangentially related to weight loss. So we can spend all this time then researching vitamins and getting a water bottle and drinking more water, right? And then 3 weeks go by and 4 weeks go by, and then I'm frustrated because I haven't lost any weight. Meanwhile, what I've been focusing on, my effort, my habits, my practices, while lovely, just like Heather, landing pages, freebies, right? Email list, while lovely, only have an indirect impact to like the number one goal. The number one goal, I want to make sure that I get my first paying client. All right, so if I'm going to lose weight, if you're going to lose weight and I'm helping you lose weight, I'm going to make damn sure that we're picking a habit that has a very direct impact on creating caloric deficit. So we're going to be looking at nutrition, we're going to be looking at movement, we're going to be looking at stress management, right? Probably in that order. Anyone else that wants to jump in? Whether with a suggestion for Heather or Anne-Marie or Dana, a follow-up, contribution, or like a brand new question. Actually, probably not a brand new question because it's 2 to 11. So not a brand new question. All right, that feels like a little pregnant pause, which feels like a good place to wrap up. And I get an entire 1 minute for bathroom break before an 11 o'clock. So before I let you go, a couple of things I want to tell you. Next week, I am co-hosting a webinar with Dr. Karin Nordin. We're going to talk about all things social media at 1 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. And some of you might have gotten an email about that already. If you haven't, just be on the lookout in the PM Coaches community. I'll be announcing that. I'll be talking more about that. It's free. It's you should attend. It's going to be a great resource. And then our next Coaches Connect, and I will be hosting that one as well, is next week. It's going to be on Valentine's Day on Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. So I hope I will see some of you or all of you there. Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.